Hello and happy Mother's Day from Three Things with Ian. It is May 11th, it is episode 131, and it is Mother's Day. And I want to take this moment to just say thank you to my mother for everything. For everything. On this episode, we are talking, Mother's Day, mushrooms, a crazy thought experiment, and the World Cup. There's no way you're getting without any soccer today. So just came back from a nice little picnic and hike, and yes, as you can see from my side, you can see my haircut. Got a haircut finally. It was well overdue. I'm looking fresh and I'm liking it. So let's talk about mushrooms. So after this podcast episode, whatever you want to call it, I'm planning on going in the backyard. We have a bog and then some woods behind us, and I'm gonna look for some Morel mushrooms. That is Morel. It is a very sought after mushroom. A lot of cooks, restaurants, culinary persons, and people alike use morels for cooking, for seasoning. It's an edible mushroom. Obviously, it's a non-poisonous mushroom. The fruiting period, I didn't realize, but mushrooms have a fruiting period. Late April through mid-June. Definitely like a moist sort of environment. Obviously a bit shaded. I had one growing like in the corner of my yard one year. I maybe found one or two just randomly poking around. They're definitely, I mean, if you want to be in the woods anyway, it's just kind of fun to have an objective, to have something to look forward to look to. I guess it's like, geocaching for nature, for, edible things. Obviously with mushrooms, you want to be a little bit careful. Chicken of the woods is a weird name for a mushroom. It's a big old mushroom. Those I have in abundance, and those are edible. You will see them on restaurant menus. People will cook with them. But morel mushrooms are just noted for their particular flavor. There are some mushrooms that look like them, though, that can be sort of poisonous. So you want to obviously make sure that you're careful. But morel mushrooms are, they're good in soups. Some people put them on pizza. You can get a frying pan, melted butter and oil, plus a little sprinkle of salt, and just saute them for about 5 minutes. Apparently, they're very delicious. So if I do find a morel mushroom, I'll be sure to post. Maybe I'll try to do a YouTube short about just the experience of being outside and trying to find them. But anyway, that's my first topic, is morel mushrooms, because they are a Midwest delicacy. And actually, ironically, the last time that I got a few, I just gave them away. I didn't even eat them. So this time I'd like to maybe try to consume them myself. What else are we talking about today? So I did get a little more information about the World Cup tickets. I've decided that I think it's something that I'm going to pursue. I think I'm going to try to get some group stage tickets for myself and the boys. I think it'd be really fun. So they're not on. There's like some preseason sales. There's some like executive ticket packages, but generally, World Cup tickets for next July's World Cup. The final will be held, I think, like July 11th or 14th, something in that time frame, in the Meadowlands, New Jersey. But I have some information that I wanted to share with you guys. The group stage tickets are going to average, it looks like, about $300 per ticket, which we live in a world where everything's expensive, live sports being no exception. There's 11 US-based host cities. I didn't quite memorize that. Everyone gets 8 games except for Dallas. They're the lone city that has a 9th game. And basically the only way to ensure that you get to the World Cup final is, of course, to buy a package, and that gives you the full 8 games at the Meadowlands. That's starting at $25,000, going up to $75,000. So, goodness. But, as with all things, the TV watching experience, just, making a bracket, betting on who you think is going to win, either with money or just with your friends. I mean, just getting in the World Cup spirit, getting your vuvuzela out. It should be really fun, but tickets are going to be expensive. I knew they'd be expensive. I guess the nice thing about fees is, when you buy cheap tickets, the fees are like the same price as the ticket. But when you buy a ticket for $300, your $20 or $30 fee is going to feel a little more insignificant. I guess that's the silver lining. But anyway, World Cup roundup. That's my newest bit. Let's talk about. So Mother's Day. it's a very it's a very special holiday. It's a holiday where you see a lot of flowers being purchased, a lot of buffets. I said buffet, but food and just being outside. And luckily today we had great weather. We were able to go outside for a picnic and just walk around. Able to bring the dog too. Whatever you're doing on Mother's Day, make sure that you give all the moms and the people that have supported you and raised you in your life a phone call. And yes, if you are a female, or you identify as a female and you have a pet dog, sure, fur baby, have a happy Mother's Day. I'm gonna give it to you. I having a dog has definitely made me more genuinely sincere about them being, they're not humans, but they are something that you are raising and loving. And so I think that should be honored and appreciated. Let's talk a little bit about greeting cards, though. Holy smokes, greeting cards have had a bit of a comeuppance. So, in looking to get, obviously, Mother's Day cards, I was at a big box store, and they had hundreds of different greeting cards, and I was surprised that the base price seems to have jumped a lot. So there's always going to be really high-end greeting cards, and there's going to be obviously the $1.99 or 99-cent cards, right? They have the bookends, but the median cards I thought were either just shy of $3 or $3.50, something in that ballpark. And I was surprised to see that the average card, it seemed like, at this big box retail store, starts with a W, ends with a T, were I think $5.99. I saw some cards for $7.99, and some of the cards were quite nice. It was a thicker card stock. Some had a ribbon, and they were, I guess, the bespoke version. But trading cards have you cornered. If you are not going to make yourself a card, which if you're a kid or you just want to make a personal card, I think that's phenomenal. Go for it. I think there's always room for that. But but most people are going to buy a card. They're going to go to it. They're going to get the gift, maybe a gift bag or wrapping paper, and they're going to want a card. And so they have you cornered. They can really charge seemingly more than you'd like. I think the thing that I have two takeaways is that the difference in quality from the value cards, which are under $2, to the medium cards, which are $6 or $7, wasn't that great. I was surprised that the cards that they were charging 3 or 4 times, or at least twice, 2.5 times markup on the value cards, they weren't that much more impressive. They were a little thicker. You could tell there was a little more care and a little bit of a higher quality product in terms of color and saturation and just the overall feel and look of it. But that's a crazy markup, and it's really one of those things where you can purchase any gift for any value, but when it comes to the card, you just really got to pay what they charge. I don't know what the ceiling is. If cards get to be $9.99 for your base card, obviously there's going to be, I think, a pullback, a rebellion of sorts, but it's one of those markets where, I think the average card price over the last 10, 15 years has really skyrocketed. I know with the cost of goods and tariffs and all of that and stuff, I would understand a markup, but even if a 15% markup from like $3 is not going to get you to $6.75, $6.95. So anyway, greeting cards. I knew I would have that slip up at least once. Greeting cards, I was surprised to see the market on them I'm sure there are nicer cards. There's more variety. There's way too many varieties. We have too many options, but I was surprised, and I kind of want to hear your opinions on greeting cards. Are you the kind of person that makes a card, or just you some people probably grab the card, don't even look at the bottom. I bet you 30% of people don't even look at the price. Which, hey, that's fine. No judgment. So, what else? There was one more topic I was going to talk about. Goodness, look at me, just Oh, okay. So we were at Dairy Queen and we're getting ice cream, and Dairy Queen costs money. Things cost money. But for some reason in my head, I went to this thought experiment, like I often do, and I was like, if the average person could experience a world in which things were not only free but unlimited, my question was, how soon would people modulate their behavior, if they would at all, to generally coincide with the normal eating and spending habits that they normally employ? So let me give you an example of that. So in this world, the world we're in, you go to Dairy Queen, you pay some money, you get some ice cream. Obviously, most people don't do that every day, and they don't do it every day for a couple reasons. One, it's not healthy, and two, at some point you would feel like you're probably wasting some money, or it doesn't make sense to spend 15, $20 to get ice cream for a couple people every day. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel logical. But if you could go whenever you wanted to and get free ice cream that's unlimited, how soon would you? I mean, at first you might go like all the time, too often, but at some point, would your normal eating habits that you employ now, would they mimic this simulated world? I don't know the answer. I was just thinking about it because at first I think that if we lived in a world where we had free reign of everything, like the holodeck in Star Trek, right? Where there was no currency, there's no money. If you wanted a tomato soup and sandwich, you press the button, you get it. Would you overdo it? Would you just gorge yourself and get like all these foods and have one or two bites of them, or would you just accumulate things, or if at the slightest inkling of wanting something, would you just get it? At what point would that become unhealthy? At what point would you be like, I kind of want to go back to having to pay for something is a barrier for access in terms of at least wanting something and then getting it. So I don't know. I was just thinking about a world in which, basically it was a holodeck. You could have anything you want and any quantity you want. At some point, too much is just too much. But how long would that take for the average person? And would it not? Would there be people out there who would just literally within 2 months consume so much ice cream or junk food that they would just basically die? I have no idea, or have huge health concerns. Would it take something like that to pull back? Just putting it out there. I think we'll end it there. I think that was good. I have a crazy Hulk Hogan quote for next time, and we'll talk about 3 other topics. I will hopefully have some mushrooms in hand. But once again, I raise my microphone to all the great mothers out there doing all the great work, the loving, the caring, compassion, and just how much that matters. So happy Mother's Day.